Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there. How the devil are we all? I hope you are well. 1-1 at the weekend. It was one of those, I said I'd take it at the start. And then when it was a draw, I was kind of pissed off a little bit. Another Man United fan we had on thought it was a really, really, really poor game. But as I said to him, you haven't seen us earlier in the season. It is Leicester Till I Die TV, the prediction show. You can catch us on Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. Please smash the likes button and give us a subscribe if you haven't already. It is a great support to us. And if you are listening on podcast on your favorite podcast platforms, we're on most of the main, we're on all the main ones and most of the other ones as well. Thank you for listening. That just continues to go strength to strength. Do you fancy a bit of this? How the devil are you, as modelled by a non-model? We've got all of it. We've got the Leicester Till I Die t-shirts, polo shirts, almost got everything bar the bog roll. Go over to the website. It's all the w's.leicestertillidie.com/shop, and you can find all the range there. And I'm sure you'd like to look like me. Yeah, no, I know you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Hey, I'm going to say, Gay, John, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? Welcome along. Nice to see you. And everybody in the chat, obviously, join in because it is the prediction show. Let us know what your thoughts are for the upcoming games as we run through them. I've never known, John, which is your team? And I'm never sure what team you support. Just might as well ask, mightn't I, really? Talking of asking, let's get him in. He's the busiest man on YouTube. It is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend that is Brad. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening. He said legend, and I thought, well, he's not talking about me. He's obviously talking about Steve. But yeah, mate, how are you? I'm enjoying today. Finally, the joys of pen and paper and keeping a schedule, mate. Who knew it makes good use?
Like I say, call me old-fashioned, but you know, I like to use a diary. But it can't. It never needs unplugging and plugging back in again. But we are Steveless at the moment. He did say it was okay for tonight. When I spoke to him last night, he was kind of celebrate. Well, not kind of. He was definitely celebrating Crystal Palace 3, Arsenal 0. He was updating me the score in the show as we were going along last night. So he may be hungover. Who knows? But I'm sure we can add his. Well, there's a couple of predictions we'll definitely know anyway. but the others we can add in as we go along. Spencer, good evening, the man with my favourite thumbnail there. Ask what you all think of the Vichai statue. Terry says, good evening, Chris and Brad. Hello, Terry, and the dog. And he has got a dog. Okay, if anybody thinks I'm dissing his wife, he has got a dog. Who is still missing your cuckoo clock, Brad? I don't know where that's gone to. Vichai statue. I've only seen it in the paper. It looks very nice.
Yeah, I watched the LCFC video about it. You know, obviously the players, the ex-players all turned up for the ceremony. Susan Wheeling gave a speech, and it was one of them. You know, from a club's perspective, it was done really well. It was a bit emotional, in a way, bittersweet to watch because it was so lovely to see, but it did get a bit teary-eyed watching it. But yeah, it looks brilliant. You can't honour a man like that any better than the way the club up. So yeah, it looks fantastic. It's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, totally agree with you. And it would have been his 64th birthday this year, a couple of days ago. A little bit older than me, but only just. But I think the statue itself looks really, really good. I mean, you know, he's got it with a thumbs up, hasn't it? So, which was his, one of his famous poses, if you like, or used to go around. And great man. And I think it's long overdue, to be honest with you. Long overdue.
And a man that wasn't just taken by fans of the football club. The entire city took to him and his family as well. So
I can remember when it happened, and obviously, you know, a lot of the bloggers and YouTubers were being approached by papers, TVs, and what have you. And I think, you know, I said when I was being interviewed, he didn't buy the club. Or he didn't just buy a football club, he bought into the community.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he invested in hospitals, he did a lot for the community, and that was something that you can maybe think that a team or an ownership would say because they want to be, you know, seen good in the public eye. But he made sure that his words were always matched by his actions. So that made it even better. And obviously his son,
he never really shouted about it, did he? You know, and he never did it to the. I can remember not long after they'd bought us out, and he was on the pitch, and they were doing an announcement for some young lad that was really ill, and his dad had cycled all around all the different football clubs to try and raise money, and he was something like 25,000 short, you know, of the 200,000, whatever it was, you know, his target, etc. And they just gave him a check there and then.
Yeah. I mean, they've always,
you know,
since day one, they have always been like that with the city and that. I mean, I remember, and people might have said at the time that it was a publicity stunt, but I remember fondly the league. I believe it was the League One season. May have started in that one because that was their first full season in charge. Where they actually at half time, what they would do is they would pick out completely at random. I think it wasn't completely at random. They did it stand by stand per match. So they did like the West Stand, the North Stand, East Stand, the South Stand, and they drew out people to give them completely.
I love the way you describe the fact that we've got 4 stands there.
Yeah, I know. Like any other stadium doesn't have 4 stands, but the way they did it is each home game they obviously kept rotating which stand they drew it from, but they would pick at random a ticket holder for that match. And paid all expenses for them to get flown out to have a holiday in Thailand. So they've always been so gracious. And to the away fans as well.
Sorry?
And to away fans as well, haven't they?
Yes,
away travel, etc.
They've been there for, you know, we know that, you know, it started off as a joke that if we get promotion, we'll give you a beer at the next match or whatever, and we all got it. Every time on his birthday, it was cookies or cakes and a drink. You know, breakfast if you turned up as an away fan. You've got shooting t-shirt, shirts into the ground. I mean, you go to Wembley, and they've had staff there putting, bags and scarves and flags on the chairs. It's just, as Spencer says, best owners in the world. And if anybody like Derby or anybody like that is thinking of, if somebody's thinking of buying a club, have a look at the Leicester have a look at the Leicester model, because that's what you should be looking at, But
definitely.
Eintracht Frankfurt says, John, I do apologise, mate, with it not being sort of an English team. I didn't remember, to be honest with you. I do apologise. Well, we've had a bit of a chat. It actually was quite good, because I thought it might give Steve a chance to get on, because we are Steveless at the moment. Unfortunately, with his job, he said last night, through possibly a drunken haze, that he was okay to come on tonight, because he was doing a celebration because Arsenal were losing. Oh dear.
Is Scott in the comments? I don't know.
Not yet. No, not yet. But
I was going to say maybe give the responsibility to Scott like last time, but if not, I'm sure we can fill in the blanks.
We can fill in the blanks, and obviously I speak to him regularly, so I can get that off him. There's 2 games we know what he'll go for anyway. But yeah, he was updating me. Oh, the 1-0 up Palace. Oh, the 2-0 up. Oh, he's 3. He was giving me a running commentary, and as we went through. Turf says, how do Max and Paddy on the road to I can't even think how the theme tune goes now.
Right heading on the road to nowhere. You're definitely Max.
Thank you.
I know that because you'd come up with something original as Magnet and Steel.
Miss Molina, good evening. How the devil are you? I tell you what, Dan. Sorry, Dan. If you want to give your predictions in the chat, just in case Steve does come on later, and it would all get a little bit awkward. So if you want to do that, and then we can always, if he does pop on, we can always take them out later. But let us have a look at the fixtures. And I hope you are well, Miss Molina. And this is what happened last week. Yes. Maybe it's, I say better best forgotten. Sorry, Dan, I'm going into, do have to go into a Step song there. And I know you're a huge fan of Step, so that was just for you. Yeah, we got 6, Brad. We didn't do bad, did we?
No, actually, in fact, that's probably one of our better weeks, and at one stage, I think, I don't know about yourself, but I think I was on for quite a good Saturday in general. I think Chelsea, but I'm not bothered that Chelsea buggered that up, but I was I was on a nice run, and then minus some teams holding out for draws and whatnot, and Crystal Palace spanking Arsenal, but still 6 out of 10. You take that. Yeah. It's not quite Meatloaf. It's not
it's not quite, is it? I love Meatloaf. I was watching a program about. Don't get me started talking about Meatloaf, or we will be here all night. Yeah, I don't think any of. Well, I think we all knew Liverpool were going to wallop Watford. As no disrespect, Dan, as in Man City versus Burnley as well. But none of us saw Brentford coming. I don't think.
No, I'm very glad to be wrong on that one, though.
Yes. It's nice to see Brentford doing well. Obviously, the big boys who didn't want to take a risk on Christian Eriksen at the start, now they are circling around, ready for the end of the season. Surprise, surprise. It's always the same with the big boys, isn't it?
You know what? I would love it if at the end of the season, Brentford's last home game, if he came out to a rapturous applause, obviously, and if he came out and he announced that he was signing another 12-month deal with Brentford, I think that would be brilliant, and it'd be a big middle finger to those greedy barstools. I think they could just snap him back up and get him back in their team. Because I think the only team, realistically, that could lure him away from Brentford to make him go to the big ones would obviously be Spurs.
Yes,
and that is probably dependent on Conte more than Spurs themselves. But I would love it if he came out.
I'd love it as well. I would absolutely love it. Yeah. Big up back to you, Nippon. Hope you are well. Are you coming in to see if we predict a Chelsea spanking again this week? Ooh.
We'll see. We'll see who they're playing.
Yeah, we'll see. Right, well, let's get into it. Game number one. We are looking at here we go. Newcastle versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves are 9th. Newcastle, is that 16th? Yes, I think it's 16th, isn't it? I need your glasses. It might be better than mine. And the last 2 times out, Wolves Newcastle haven't won. They lost 2-1 earlier on in the season. In fairness, they were losing to everybody then under Steve Bruce. And they got a draw this time last season. How do you see this one going?
Well, that momentum got delayed in the post, didn't it? When Eddie Howe was first appointed, it took Newcastle a considerable amount of time to get that, get some points on the board under Eddie Howe. And
yeah,
I don't know, maybe they've let the foot off the gas a bit too early. Maybe they've premature celebrated, because they took a right hammering against Tottenham. And I don't know, Tottenham are on form, but maybe that was karma for that time that Newcastle were already relegated and they beat Tottenham 5-1 to make sure that they finished third in a 2-horse race. I don't know. Maybe they're running out of steam. Maybe some of them players have got the feet up and think, "Well, job done. We've got enough points on the board. We'll be all right." And I don't know. I feel like maybe they're going to get back into a relegation scrap again. Wolves. What was their result the weekend? Did they get?
They beat Villa 2-1.
Yeah, they beat Villa 2-1, which they probably needed because they were just starting to. They'd had that shock defeat to Leeds, didn't they? And it looked like they were starting to drop off again, like they weren't going to be able to continue that challenge for maybe a European spot. Yeah. I know it's at Newcastle, but I've got a funny feeling Wolves are going to nick it. So I'm going to go for a Wolves win.
I mean, I'd been tempted with that, as you know. You never have been a big fan of Wolves this season. Newcastle, I mean, who was it? They lost to. I know I've just said
Tottenham 5-1.
5-1 by Tottenham, wasn't it? Of course. Well, it's there on the screen. I should be looking at that screen. They're 15th, like I say, and Spurs, Wolves, are 8th. But Wolves haven't been on brilliant form recently. They lost to Leeds 3-2. They only just got past Everton 1-0, and beat Watford. But when you look at the form table, and this is what is interesting, as I said to you, we're going to look at the form table this week. Newcastle are in 12th in the form table. Wolves are on 11th place. So they're actually both there or thereabouts.
Although you would say that Newcastle's last 2 games probably dropped them. They're probably up there, probably ahead of Man City, who I believe are like 5th or 6th in the form table. Yes. So they have dropped considering the last 2 games. So
I mean, if you're looking at the last 3 games, I mean, they got the spanking from Tottenham. They somehow managed to lose against Everton, and they lost to Chelsea, but only just 1-0. I've got to agree with, I'm going to say agree with Steve. Steve's not here, but Dan from Turf Morehouse TV, and do get over there and give his channel a like. It is a great channel, lots of general football content there, and I'm sure he's getting the championship content ready for next season.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that out loud? I think I did. He's gone for a 1-1 draw. And I think I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to go for the draw as well there.
You've got a championship mentality there, mate.
I just think it's at Newcastle. That that spanking, and they need to come back from that. Like they say, get on the bike straight away, as they say. If she doesn't mind, of course. And then you've got to think that it is out there. You've got the home fans behind them, and Wolves. Then they're not the Wolves that they were earlier on in the season. And the funny thing is, there's so many clubs that we've said that have started well, Brighton, Brentford, Wolves, etc., and they've started to sort of slowly drop down. So I'm going to go for the draw. I agree with Dan on that one.
Yeah.
He said
I just feel like Wolves are the worst team you could come up against when you've just taken a thumping and you're at home. Because if Wolves frustrate Newcastle for 20 minutes and the first 20 minutes, half hour, the fans then, as much praise as Newcastle fans get, they're only human. Although people might say barely because it's Newcastle fans, but they'll get nasty. They'll start turning. You'll start hearing the boos, and then, especially if Wolves then can get into half time 1-0, 0-0. I just don't see. I see Newcastle going back to same old Newcastle and just giving up the ghost. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
We will. Nippon's gone for a goalless draw as well. Right, so next up, and I think it's going to have a big bearing because, of course, it's Everton Man United. Man United sat there in 7th, Everton, down in 17th. I was watching a little bit of Dan's show earlier because Dan's got these tomorrow night. And the Everton fan was, I think, ready for jumping off a cliff, to be honest with you, bless her. But we know Man United, we've just played them, but I think depending what happens tomorrow night, it's a must-win for both those teams, Burnley and Everton, for that game. They both need to win that, but I can see that ending up as a draw. Yeah. But Everton, all the matches are now being rearranged. They're just on. Okay, they got the win against Newcastle, but let's be honest with you. That was unexpected. Man United. Well, we saw how they played. When you've got a manager that goes out and gets his team absolutely tonked by Manchester City in the derby, then decides to play exactly the same way against Leicester City. It's like Ollie was at the wheel before. Now nobody's at the wheel, and the coach is just going all over the place.
Yeah, there's just a brick on the accelerator and nothing holding onto the steering wheel at Manchester United. And thankfully, I'm not a Manchester United fan. Otherwise, I'd be really, really concerned about this game because I was on Stephen's channel earlier, as you know, and I brought this up and I said, what's going through Ralph Rangnick's head, apart from not a lot, according to Manchester United fans, where he looked at Manchester, he looked at the issue at Manchester, and I know Cavani's out and Ronaldo was out, whatever, or last minute he was out. Of course, it's hard to say how the game goes if one of them is playing. But I just want to know how you have, form or not, technically a striker on the bench, and how you look at your form and go, I know what will fix it. We'll do what our rivals Man City do and play with no strikers. Because that was we've questioned Rodgers playing like Amati at left back or whatever this season when we've seen our lineups. But to have Bruno Fernandes playing in the striking role behind Pogba and constantly rotating them two around and which one does what. No wonder Manchester United are in a worse state than they were under Ollie. And it's at Everton. Yes, Everton didn't do themselves any favours. Keane got sent off, which is not what you need when you're fighting relegation and you're looking for every point's worth double, if not triple, with how close it is at the bottom between them and Burnley and Watford and whatnot. And Everton did get something at Old Trafford, didn't they? They nicked a point and they had a VAR situation where I think it was Yerry Mina was offside. It stopped them getting a winning goal. Unfortunately, Frank Lampard's a bit crap as a manager. So I think he's just worse than Ralph Rangnick. And whether it's by hook or by crook, assuming Ronaldo's available, or at least one of the two, I'm going to say Man United scrape the win.
Yeah, you're going for Man United. You look at this. I mean, you know, the last two meetings were a draw earlier in the season, 1-1, and a 3-3 last season. But it was a different Man United then. Sorry, different Everton then, I should say. I mean, for me, Everton are rudderless at the moment. There's so much going on at the club. You know, you look at Man United and think, what's going on behind the scenes there? Then you look at Man United, and you know, I read earlier on today that they might be investigating a £320,000 fraud or something. You know, I don't know what's going on there. And I think, I'm not saying that Lampard is a bad manager. I mean, you know, he did all right at Chelsea. You know, he got them without having been able to go and buy anybody. He was able to get them into the Champions League. But I just think that he was the wrong man for this position. He hasn't got enough experience. It's like Watford and Fulham appointing Ranieri. You know, wrong managers at the wrong time. I still say, and again, this was something I actually said on Dan's channel when I was in the chat earlier. I think one of the best things that happened to Leicester was when we dropped down into the third tier.
Yeah, it was.
We got rid of it. We got a new manager in because, I mean, if he hadn't gone, we'd have still had Ollie. And I know Ollie got Blackpool and blah, blah, blah. But the whole Leicester squad at that time was round pegs in square holes. And it was such... We'd had so many... We'd gone through the Levine years and other...
Yeah, I mean, Levine years aside, mate, Holloway brought the place I didn't even know existed.
Yes.
I mean, what was it? We had... Zolt Laxko is the name that sticks with me, and I remember Gabriel Boring.
Yeah, oh God, now you're taking me back. But yeah, and this is it. And we wouldn't have moved on if we hadn't gone down, I don't think. But going down, it's like, third tier for the first time in our history, we need to do something here.
Yeah, I think there's a few teams that maybe benefited from that. Southampton, if I remember rightly, benefited from that. You know, they spent a couple of seasons there. You know, notably, we're the only team like that have ever gone into the third tier and come straight back up from that. But Leeds as well benefited from it in the long run, didn't they? Eventually,
yeah. But I mean, we went and got Pearson, who, funnily enough, kept Southampton up at our expense in the second tier, and then they sacked him. We got him in, and to be honest with you, that was amazing. What an amazing bit of business. He came in, he got rid of the deadwood, he started again. He got a lot of loan players in because he knew that if we went straight back up, these weren't players that were Championship level, but they were League One level to get us up. And the rest, as they say, is history. So I don't think it would be a bad thing for Everton to go down. Man United, I mean, you know, the Man United fans were, and I know it was an excuse, then they were really bad. Or did Leicester make them look bad? I know on Lucas' show earlier, you had Darius on Bath Time with Vaughan, and I had him on my opposition show earlier, and he thought it was a really, really drab game. But like I say, he hasn't seen us earlier in the season. Ranix, I mean, it's wrong. You should, if you're going to get rid of Ollie, which they did to please the fans, and I've said this all along, I'm bored of saying it, you get a permanent manager in if you're Manchester United, not somebody who is not a manager. That said, with the players they've got, if they cannot go out and beat this Everton team, don't sack the manager, sack 11, 14, 15 players. Obviously never happen, but I've got to go for a Man United win. Because I say, if they don't win this, then, pack your bags up.
To be honest with you, if they weren't playing an Everton-like side away from home, I would probably have gone for a draw. I think even if they played Burnley away from home, I would have gone for a draw. And that's saying something considering Burnley are where they are. I think Everton are just that bad that even a really bad Manchester United team, performance-wise, should get the job done. It's one of them. It just says how bad they've been this season, or how wrong it's going for them, should I say.
Yeah. Right. Let me just check on this. So we have now got coming up. Turf. Dan has gone for the same as us, Man United win, and Spencer's gone for United as well. I can't see anything other than that, to be honest with you. So we're on to the next game, which, well, Dan, you can say what you want, and we're going to put Brighton down as a win for Steve straight away because they are playing against Arsenal. Arsenal. I mean, last night it was a total surprise. And to be honest with you, I've felt like turning off my social media because all we've heard since then and all we'll hear until this game is Arteta out and he doesn't know the process and he doesn't know what he's doing and he's the wrong man and we're Arsenal and we shouldn't be losing 3-0 to Crystal Palace and we're Arsenal fans and we're up our own arse and what have you. So, but they got spanked. Well done, Crystal Palace. Brighton, now I'm not saying that it's because you are now going out with Chloe, Brad, but since then, since that has started, it's not been good. And Brighton are actually 20th in the form table at the moment.
It's like you're asking me to get divorced before we're even married, mate.
No. Well, it's up to you. If you're going to turn up at the Amex, then just, don't wear a Leicester shirt.
No, I won't be allowed in the stadium if she sees me with that. No, I prefer to look at this in a different light. I tried to share my look around, and it's not worked since. And then in the last predictions, I had an epiphany, which hurt my brain a little bit because I don't know that word, but apparently it means you had an inspired thought. And I went with the draw against Norwich. And for the first time in about 7 games with Brighton, I got the result right. So I'm not going to get carried away. It's at Arsenal. So for that reason, I'm going to stick to my guns until it's wrong. Pardon the pun with Arsenal there, but I'm going to go for a draw.
You're going for a draw? Whoa.
Well, if Palace can beat them, then Brighton can certainly go there and get something from them, can't they, surely? I mean, I know Chloe, bless her, she's not ill, but she has been physically sick since that game finished, watching Palace beat Arsenal. It's probably the only team she doesn't like to see beat Arsenal. Yeah. She's not been feeling very well, bless her.
You see, let's have a look at this. Arsenal sat in 5th, Brighton in 13th. The last 2 games last early on in the season was 0-0. But then in fairness, Arsenal didn't have the best of starts and Brighton had an amazing start to the season. This game last season, it was 2-0 to Arsenal. In the current form, like I say, Brighton are just bottom of the current form. They've let in more goals in the last 6 games. Well, they've got a worse goal difference in the last 6 games than Norwich. I'm sorry, Brighton. What are you playing at? You've got the next England manager managing you. You got the manager who's every time he bends down to pick the football up, the sun comes out of his backside. What are you doing? You haven't won in I don't know how many games, 5 at least. This is, and I hate to say this, and I'm sorry if Steve's watching this on catch up or anything, but I can't see anything other than an Arsenal win. And I know they lost to Palace, but they are kind of that sort of team. They'll lose, win. They've won more than they've lost recently. In fairness, they were the form team. They're sat in 5th in the form table at the moment, and I just think they'll come back after that game. And I think Brighton will get the wrong end of the 3 points. I am afraid. Dan says Arsenal to beat Brighton. I can't put that one down.
I never like Dan anyway. He's just bitter that he's going to play Millwall on Tuesday.
But yeah, mate, I can't go. I can't. I get what you're doing, but I can't go for. I can't on behalf of Steve. I've got to go for Brighton.
I think this is bang out of order, right? Steve's got his traditions. I've now got my traditions. You've got to pick a team and stick your neck out there. I think you should always back Brentford to win no matter who they're playing. I think you should make them. That's it. Steve has his Arsenal and his Spurs. I have me drawing Brighton, and now you've got to have your win in Brentford. I think you should stick with it.
Well, me?
Yeah. You might get more points, actually. Don't do that. I changed my mind. Do it.
And honestly, Steve, I like Steve. He'd kill me, and he'd never come back on the show if I went for an Arsenal win on behalf of him. I'm afraid. This is the guy, like I say, that was watching the game and actually came on to my live show to tell me what the score was. So
I thought for a second there, he was going to say that he came on to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a while. It's been a while. Right, let us go for the next game, which let me just bring it across here. We look at here, and we are looking at Southampton at home to Chelsea. Chelsea in third at the moment. That might be that might be questionable though for much longer if they carry on like they did the other day. Southampton in 11th. I mean, earlier on in the season, it was 3-1 to Chelsea. It was 1-1 this game last season. Southampton are struggling, Brad. Having said that, Chelsea were in the last game, but my God, I had Southampton as an outside bet for maybe, the Conference League, but they've really, they seem to have these dips in form every season around this time. And I mean, Chelsea, I can't accept that, and I don't want to use this, well, I'm going to use this as a comparison, but, with what happened at Leicester City, and then we went out and played Cardiff, and we won 1-0, that Chelsea, with all the troubles that are going on in their backyard, can't go out and beat a team like Brentford.
Yeah,
and no disrespect to Brentford, but they're not on the best of form at the moment.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you look back over the last few seasons, Chelsea have always been susceptible to a bit of a shock beating by someone, and it's not just that last 2 or 3 seasons. We're talking. I think they lose to Bournemouth once at home. I think they had like a dramatic draw against Bournemouth and teams like that. So they are susceptible to it. And this season, Chelsea have been, from my view, they've been very lackadaisical the way they go about performing. I remember I used to watch Soccer Saturday or watch them on telly or whatever, and you'd watch Chelsea almost in awe because they'd pass the ball around, and Hazard would fly down the wing and he'd tricky step overs, and he'd find Diego Costa who would bite your arm off to get his head in front of there because he was a nasty piece of work up front. Yeah, they had a glorious side that you didn't have to like it, but they played free, high-tempoed football. This Chelsea team just looks like a bunch of stroppy teenagers that can't be bothered. And for that reason, even though Southampton are in bad form, Southampton are going to win this game.
Ooh.
Because I think Chelsea, now they're no longer owned by a man that will court you if you don't win a notable trophy. I think Chelsea's focus will be purely 100% on both legs in the Champions League. And I think their form in the league continues to slip.
Right. Well, Dan has gone. I've got you down then for Southampton win, Brad. We're not agreeing on an awful lot this week, so we may see some movement in the old points chart.
Well, it's getting better. It's getting a little drastic for me.
I should just, for the rest of the season, just agree with everything you say, shouldn't I? Dan says Chelsea are having good weeks and bad. In and out of form, it's unreal. Southampton to get a point, 0-0 draw. Yes, Scott, you've caught up. Well done, thanks very much. And Spencer has gone for Southampton and Chelsea to be a draw. Is Nippen still in, or is Nippen not, hidden his head under the parapet as we're talking Chelsea? I mean, Chelsea's last 5, they beat Burnley 4-0. Sorry, Dan. They beat Norwich 3-1. They beat Newcastle 1-0. And every so often, it's the weirdest of seasons. And I think we've all got to say this has been the weirdest of seasons. If Leicester had had the sort of season we had any other season, we'd have been down in, 14th, 15th. But it's only because everybody else is having such a bad season as well, that we kind of managed to sort of keep our head above water. So it is a funny season, but I can see Chelsea getting back to winning ways. I think Tuchel, that will have hurt him. And I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to disagree with both of you.
No, that's good. Just hope
it's my show and I'm allowed to.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, one each there. And I mean, Chelsea are still third in the form table as they are in the league, and Southampton are down in 14th. And I say, just look at that Southampton, last 5 games sort of thing, and they're not. Yeah, they're not. I mean, they got the one win over Norwich. Well,
Well, you know what, mate? You just made an interesting point. Third in the third in the form table, third in the league. They finished third for like the last 3 or 4 seasons. It feels like. No wonder they were bloody sponsored by 3. You might as well call them third. You might as well call them third Chester United for what it's worth.
I love it. I mean, have 3 not stopped sponsoring them though?
I think they have because of all the Russians.
Yes.
And that. But gee, no wonder 3 stopped talking. It just made sense, didn't it?
I love it. I really do. Right. I've completely lost where I am now. Watford Leeds is the next game. And let's have a look and bring up the details on that. Watford. Look, I don't have to say this every week, do I? And I heard it actually mentioned. I think it was Richie's show last night. He mentioned the fact that he wanted these teams to go down and stay down and give other teams a chance. Bournemouth came up and managed to stay up more than a few years. Leeds have made it 2 seasons. Look like they're probably going to make it 3. Sheffield United made it 2. At least have a go when you come up. They managed to beat Southampton. They lost to Wolves. They lost to Arsenal. That was the 3-2. They did draw against Man United, but obviously they lost against Liverpool. Leeds, it's a must-win. I know this is another must-win game, to be honest with you. Leeds in 16th, Watford in 18th. How do you see this going?
Watford are going down.
Yes.
Norwich are going down. I think the way they both play their football, they're like an infestation, aren't they? Right now, all they're doing is the infestation nest has been found and they're slowly dying out, and they're just trying to scrimp and scrape as many points as they can and upset as many teams as possible while they go back down to the Championship. The thing is, the difference. I know things have changed a little bit in terms of form and how they're playing as well. At one point, a few weeks ago, we were all discussing the possibility of could someone like Watford or Burnley, or Watford and Norwich, or Norwich and Burnley, a combination of 2 of the 3 of them, do enough to drag Leeds also into this relegation scrap with them, because they were alarmingly going downhill. And whether I know Leeds fans hold him dear in the heart, but rightfully they sacked the manager. Questionable who they chose to replace him with, however, but they were right to sack him because they were only going one way, and their performances have improved. They got a great comeback win against Wolves. Yeah. Yes, Wolves were down to 10 men, but given the side that Wolves have in the Formula One, they should not capitulate to lose that game 3-2. They only lost 1-0 to us. They got a vital win, thrown in there. And I just think Watford are a bit boring, a bit done for. And, the way they play football like Norwich do, playing for points, which is literally quite ironically, is pointless right now for them because they're even further behind and need to be winning these games, aren't they? I think this is the final nail in their coffin. And ironically, the win that keeps Leeds up, because I'm going for a Leeds win.
Right. Dan, the Burnley man, he has gone for Watford to nick this It hurts him to say, but well done for being honest, Dan. In the form table, it's not a lot different. Watford are 17th in the form table, Leeds are 15th. I mean, it is tough down there. Leeds are doing what they have to. I mean, like they beat Norwich 2-1. That was a must-win game for them. And you can, beating the teams around you is more important than beating the teams up at the top of the division. But Leeds are on 30. Watford are on 22. I mean, all right, Watford have played one less game, but that's 7 points. So that is, you're asking Watford, if they want to overtake Leeds, to win 3 games, and this be one of them. And I can't see that happening. I can't see it happening. The fact that it is at Watford, I do want Watford to go down. I've said it so many times, but I'm going for the draw. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go for the draw with it being at Watford. He's a wily old fox, is our boy. And I think, he might just get something from this one. So, hang on, let me just... Watford Leeds. Where are we? Right, let me try and bring the next game up because my system wasn't working. And it is Villa versus Spurs. All right, Dan, I'm putting Steve down for Aston Villa. Yeah, they gave Newcastle a tonking, and Kane didn't even get on the sheet. Tottenham, they won, beat West Ham 3-1. They beat Tottenham 2-0. They managed to lose it against Man United and 5-0 against Everton. They are on a bit of a hot run at the moment. Villa, meanwhile, lost to Wolves, lost to Arsenal, lost to West Ham, but they did beat Leeds and they did beat Southampton. Aston Villa, I think, still are a team in development, and Conte's got something out of Tottenham, and he's got them sat in 4th. And it'll be funny if Arsenal do lose it, because I dare you say it was their position to lose. Which way is this one going to go, Brad?
It's only going one way, mate. And I'm sorry, Steve, if you're listening or catching up on this, but Spurs are thrashing Villa. Villa have had, I agree, and I think Villa board need to be mindful of this. If you're giving the job to someone as of Steven Gerrard's calibre in terms of his managerial experience, I did say when he was appointed, he's probably one of the wiser players that have turned to management after their career. In the fact that he went to Rangers, spent a bit of time there to develop his managerial expertise and get it up to scratch, if you will, for lack of a better term. I think he needs to be given the time to build there. They've been very hot and cold. Hot and cold with their form. Like you mentioned, them last 2 wins they had, they're now on a trounce into nothing. And I said when it happened that Conte would be maybe that perfect appointment for them, and he's proven that to be the case. Spurs have been a lot better in league form. And they maybe have that eye on really trying to maybe get revenge for 15-16 in that coming third in the horse race. Maybe they want to knock Arsenal off that perch, and we can all laugh at Arsenal bottom for 4th place for holding the most season.
Yeah, that would be nice, I have to admit. Steve agrees with Mr. North Macedonia. He thinks Spurs will win this comfortably, but he understands Steve alliances. Scott said he means both Villa and Spurs get points deducted for the game would be an ideal scenario. I mean, the last 2 games, Tottenham won 2-1, Villa won last season 2-1. Villa are 10th in the form table as it stands at the moment. Spurs are 2nd. And I think Conte's got a lot of work to do in the summer. And he's got a big decision to make, obviously, about a certain Mr. Kane. But I think with these 2 managers, they're both going to have to be given time to get, I think, what they want. And I think Conte, as the manager that went in when he did, could say to Spurs, well, if I come in, if you want me now, you're going to have to do it my way, to quote Frank Sinatra.
I think he did, mate. I think he had Daniel Levy was probably for the first time in his career was put over a barrel, and entered without warning when he had to grovel at his feet to get him back into the interviewing for the job.
Yeah,
because of what happened the first time round. So
no, exactly. So he's in a very good position. But with Conte, you've got a manager who's experienced. That even though he's probably not got the team that he wants, he's getting a tune out of a very old orchestra, if you like. On the other hand, Villa, I think, have got Gerrard in for the long term. I've heard their owner's representative on the radio quite a bit, and they talk a very good game. I'm going to be honest with you. I do like the sound of what they're saying, and I think Gerrard will be given time. And I don't think if they can finish mid-table this season, that's as much as I think they are possibly expecting. And then next season, after the window, I think they're going to go for it. So you've got two managers here that I think will get to sort of a bit of time to show what they can do. But I totally agree with you on this one. I can't see Villa getting anything, and I think it's Spurs all the way, as they say. We're all on the way to Wembley. Ozzy's knees are all a trembly, as those great philosophers Chaz and Dave once said. Hey, we're going to be back just after this. No, I nearly forgot. You didn't remind me, Brad.
It's time for the Daily Spurs.
How could I have forgotten that? But how apt to do it at this precise moment. Spurs, if you're watching, any Spurs fans, it's been 14 years, 36 days, 4 hours, 23 minutes and 31 seconds since you last won a trophy. You got to feel sorry for them, don't you, Brad?
No.
If I said no at the same time, then. Guys, please do this for me.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow and join in now.
Yeah, please give us a subscribe. We would really mean a lot to us. Right, let me try and get back up then. What match is showing there? Brentford, West Ham. I've got it here, yeah. Brentford, West Ham. Brentford, my God. Well, we've discussed it already, haven't we? What an amazing result that was for them. They lost to us. We'll show you how it's done, Chelsea. They managed to beat Burnley and they managed to beat Norwich. And again, I said earlier with Leeds, this is what Brentford need to do. They started off very well. They've dropped away. But what they're doing is beating the teams around them, and that's worth, I think, a lot more than again. I mean, obviously, 3 points is 3 points, but if you can get 3 points, but at the same time taking 3 points off those teams around you, as they say, it's a 6-pointer. West Ham, I mean, they lost to Tottenham. They struggled to beat Everton 2-1. I mean, they're still in Europe. They're having a good season. They are there in 6th still, not the 4th they were hoping for. Brentford 14. I think they're going to stay up. How do you see this one going?
There's a lot riding on a couple of teams' midweek performance.
I do, boy.
Most notably, obviously, we've discussed the Everton Burnley midweek game that they've got. West Ham in Europe, and obviously ourselves will be playing in Europe this weekend. For Arsenal and Spurs fans, that's a little competition where you play clubs from around the globe in European areas, And just in case you forgot what that feels like.
Good point, Brad. Well done and well pointed out, sir.
Yeah. And I think that both clubs, and I know we touched on this ourselves in the last post match, but I think you're coming to that point where, because I don't know if West Ham have the first leg at home or if that's the second leg in their tie, but you feel that either way, you're now at that point of the season where maybe your eggs go into a weight down more in one basket.
Yeah.
European success is always the eye-catching one. They're obviously in Europa League over the Conference League that we're in.
They're at home this Thursday, Brad.
Okay, so they won't suffer anything from travel. But again, we're into that fight, that word final stage. It's quarterfinals for them. So they might look at that competition a little bit more, maybe take the foot off the gas. Brentford are at home. They've just come off a phenomenal win. I think they kind of rubber stamp another season in the Premiership, and I think Brentford actually probably going to get themselves a comfortable win here, actually. I think West Ham maybe go full steam ahead in their opening in their first leg, especially being at home, and I think that might affect them having to travel. Not too far to Brentford, is it?
I was waiting to see where you were going to go with that one. I was thinking, travel down the road.
I was like, no, hold on, it's not my fault they were. Brentford are not too far, but still, dealing with that, I think they might they'll put the majority of their effort into Thursday night, and it's Brentford at home, isn't it? They've got some good results at home against the top end, so I'm backing Brentford.
Yeah. I've got your problem here. I need to put my other set of teeth in. Spencer's has gone for a Brentford win as well, as has Turf Moorhouse. They will be on a humongous high. Brentford to beat West Ham. Yes, I mean, that's the thing. They will be literally on a huge high.
I just feel like even if West Ham get a really good result on Thursday, you do have that psychological hangover effect, don't you?
Yes.
So.
Terry says, Brad, have those glasses got plain glass in them? He still seems to have to get an inch away to read the comments. He's on his phone.
It's not that. I'm on my phone, and the screen is like it's like that big, so I can't even see who's commenting. So every time I'm seeing it, I'm like that.
Yes.
I do apologise, Terry. It's my phone, not my eyes.
The other thing to do, mate, is get a pair of binoculars.
What?
Yes.
Who said that?
Let's say welcome to Del Boy Gunner TV. Hi, mate. How the devil are you? Welcome along. We were split on your game against Brighton, but I went for an Arsenal win.
And I said I didn't get a top, so I went for a draw, mate.
For this one, and whether West Ham are in 9th, believe it or not, in the form table. So that shows how far, their season has dropped off, if you like. And Brentford are 11th. So Brentford are just behind them.
Yeah.
And they are playing in Europe. And it's the fact that they've got that extra game, whether they win it or whether they lose it. And if they win it, yes, they'll be on a high, and they're going to be looking at a semi-final of the European competition. And of course, any club, and I wish them well in it. I wish them well. I want them to do well. It's an English team after all, and I hope they do well in the Europa. But there's also that pressure that comes with it. So you're mentally drained as well because, it's the home leg. They've got to get something from it if they want to go away and win. And, it's not like they're on a good vein of form at the moment. And, as we can see there, West Ham, so they beat Everton, but they lost to Tottenham. They just beat Villa. They lost to Liverpool. And they just beat Wolves. So they're very up and down. But it's the fact that they're going to have played that game. It's that extra sort of 90 minutes. Midweek.
Yeah, and I'm also not sure how good in the greatest respect, if it's a West Ham fan and they can tell me more, but I just wonder about their depth. Because that's the issue that Leicester fans had for the last 2 seasons with us, and we've improved our depth in quality. And I just wonder at this point of the season, their depth, if they can afford to go full strength for Thursday and then rest and rotate to a high enough quality away from home.
I mean, I know right at the start of the season, when they were doing they were comparing themselves to sort of Leicester's 15-16 squad and what have you. In all honesty, they were berating the fact that they hadn't got a big squad. You know, if Antonio's injured, they haven't really got a replacement for him still. It's... And I don't know how good Leon are and how good a game Leon are going to give them. I mean, Brentford beat them earlier in the season. So, you know, it's all pointing to a Brentford win. And I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. And it's at the community stadium. And I can see Brentford doing it. And I like Brentford, as you people know, but I can see them nicking this. I mean, do you think, and this will apply to the next game as well, because obviously it's our game, but do you think when you get to West Ham, like you said, one bag gets heavier than the other as you maybe go further. Being a West Ham fan, you're going to want to you'd sacrifice that 4th place, would you not, for getting into the final of the Europa League? There's no reason why they can't win it.
I mean, I would say yes, because we gave the same answer when we were asked about, what would you take 4th place or winning the FA Cup? It's the same concept. It's a cup competition over the league. And yes, whilst Champions League football is obviously the pinnacle dream for anybody in the Premiership, whether you're Norwich, sorry, forget I said that, whether you're a decent side in the Premiership or not, your ambition, your pinnacle goal, aside from obviously winning the damn division, would be to reach the pinnacle competition through qualification and finishing top 4 in our division to get Champions League football. I mean, UEFA and FA are doing all they can to make it done about the 60s and 17th century results over actually doing what you're doing in the present day. But until they get that rite of passage, it's about finishing well in the league. And I'm sure West Ham fans would like a Champions League thing. But at the same time, this is a very precarious position for West Ham, because I'd have to look at the league table, and I'd probably assume they're very certain of at least Europa League football again. And I think, being as that's the case, West Ham fans might just have it in the back of their head is, would it be considered a bottle job, as that's the phrase that everyone likes? It's not a failure, it's not a fade away, it's a bottle job, because that's
the phrase that everybody's using at the moment.
Yeah, that's the hot phrase right now.
Yeah.
Would it be seen as that if they say, and let's just say they get to the final and they play Barcelona or whoever they can meet up in that final? I don't know how it's branched out, whatever, and they lost it, and then inadvertently, because I believe the final was played either one side of the last game of the season. But if they were to reach a European final and lose it and drop out of the Europa League spot, would West Ham fans see that as an ultimate failure and question David Moyes? Or, and that,
I don't necessarily think you can question. I don't think you can question David Moyes on what he's done for them over the last 2 seasons.
But media have a very easy way of twisting it to get you thinking, well, actually, yeah, that is a failure. And then all of a sudden there's David Moyes, and that's what I mean. Now, if West Ham, sorry, I was going to say, if they do get Europa League football in terms of their league position, why not go after it, sack off the race for 4th? Because guess what? Winning Europa League also gets you in the Champions League.
Yes. Plus, as well, I mean, I was speaking to Louise last night when we did the weekend roundup show, and as she said, we didn't bottle it the last 2 seasons because for Leicester, 5th was good. And
5th was amazing.
And West Ham, I mean, they're 6th at the moment. They've won, lost, won. So they're going to lose the next one. But, they've played one more game than Manchester United. And Manchester United are on the same points as them. All right, they may sort of think, well, Manchester United, we may be safe. But, Wolves are only 2 points behind them. So they can't I could maybe even see them slipping out of the top 7, to be honest with you. But
which again alludes to the fact of, are they going to throw all their eggs in that Europa League basket and then look at a Brentford game and go, with the greatest respect, that's when we'll play a Lanzini or a Yarmolenko, and we'll hope for them to get a result. But if not, our focus is to get through the quarterfinals and win the Europa League. We will see. As a Leicester fan, I don't have them palpitations being in that position. I just get the joys of enjoying us finishing as well as we can and hopefully winning the conference.
Yes. Does this become a West Ham channel? We just like claret and blue. Well, some claret and blue.
Well, what we're trying to do, Dan, is we're getting our allotted claret and blue praising now, because we're going to lose the claret and blue for next season, so we won't be able to talk about that.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yep. No, totally right. Totally right there. So it is the Premier League prediction show. So we do talk about all the teams.
Sorry, Dan. I know you waited 50 odd years to go and get knocked out by Aberdeen when you played in Europe. But when we got to talk about European sides that play in European competitions, we have to talk about all of them, Daniel. This is how it works. Listen to your father. He'll know.
Hey. Right. Palace up next for Leicester. Leicester in 9th, Palace are in 12th. Good time to be playing. And I don't think that's updated. Obviously, doesn't include last night's result on there, because I did these before that. So forgive me for that, Palace fans. But what a time to play Palace! Oh God! Don't die on me.
No, it's not allowed on set. It's not allowed on that.
No, do it in your own time.
I'm just looking at Palace's other results. I mean, 2-0 win against that. I mean, they've been fairly difficult to beat this season, and yet somehow you look at their league position, and then you look at their results in their last 4 or 5 games there, and they've never really been in a fear of relegation since Vieira's took over. He's probably improved them since Roy Hodgson. And I'm not just talking the quality of football they play, because Roy is Roy, but in terms of their progression as a club. And again, to reiterate the fact that Leicester, Dan, I'm talking about a European night, not a Championship Tuesday night fixture. Leicester play a very, very difficult opponent, PSV, at home. And we'll obviously be wanting to try and win that competition, because the way Leicester season has gone this season, I'm sure Brendan and the players maybe have it in their mind similar to West Ham, in the sense of, we'll do our best in the league, obviously, but our focus is get a good advantage, put us in a prime position for that second leg against PSV, so we can try and win this competition and get into the Europa League next year that way.
Yes. But we have got the squad now where we can rotate it, aren't we? Because I know we've got no Indeed. We get one back and we lose one. It's typical Leicester this season. We get one back, we get one away.
And the good thing is in a weird way, the upside to a lot of injuries, which people may raise an eyebrow hearing me say that, is these so-called rotation players, I like to call them, or backup players as they're known as, like your Chowdhuries and your Mendes. Obviously, Mendes now instrumental to us in that midfield because of Ndidi's season-ending injury. But then Chowdhury maybe looks at this and he thinks, oh, well, Mendy probably plays in the Europa League game, but we can't.
No, Mendy can't play in the Europa League game. He's not registered for that, but Chowdhury is. So it's probably going to be Chowdhury in the Europa and Mendy in the Premier.
Well, still, my point would still stand. I got the order wrong, but I got my sentiment wrong. Chowdhury would play in the PSV game.
Yeah.
And then if Brendan wants to say, okay, certain players, like I played Vardy against PSV if he's fit, but then I play Iheanacho on Crystal Palace. Like you said, the difference in quality that we have compared to not just West Ham, but compared to other seasons we've had European football at Leicester, where we probably have the luxury to fancy our chances in both of these games. It'll be difficult, dependent on our result as well. Palace might say, if for example things don't go well, they might say, "Oh, they're wounded. We have to be cautious," or take advantage. That game took a lot out of Leicester. We need to try and get at them early. It all depends on how Vieira goes about it against us.
So, is this a Palace or a Leicester for you?
Oh, and that's where my heart says Leicester, but my head says this is where we get a draw. And I don't want to jinx us, because I want us to beat PSV and beat Palace and keep both options open for European football. So I'm going to get stuck on the fence like I did in our game against United, and I'm going to go for a draw.
No problem. Scott says very tight game, 2-1 to Leicester. Turfs Dan says we beat Aberdeen, then beat Istanbul Başakşehir. Is that like? I mean, I thought Istanbul had the sort of two big teams. One of them being Ferencvaros or something, and the other one being Galatasaray. I don't know who Başakşehir. It's like that's the equivalent of saying you went to Liverpool and played Tranmere, Dan. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate, but it is.
Isn't that the Istanbul team that Denver Bar went to, Dan? I don't know if you may have played against. Oh, so you lost to Olympiacos. Okay, so you had a mini European tour in the qualifiers.
Yeah. Turf, who are you going for this one? While we took this is one of those where actually the form table actually does come into its own. A draw, but after Pratt's comments, Palace. Fair dues, Dan. Fair dues. I mean, for me, I don't know. You should have left the last three words off and just put me down because you're going down. See what I did there?
Hey. Just want to say, we do not condone bullying on Leicester till I die.
Yeah, I'm available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, christenings.
Please don't hire him for funerals, God.
I God for funerals. I mean, Leicester ninth, like we say, Palace. I think they're probably higher than 12th at the moment because again, this is an old. These Monday night games do me head in. Palace are 9th, Leicester are 10th because that win took Palace above us as a +4 goal difference against our -4. So it did take them above us.
All right, well, I'll change my mind. Leicester are going to beat Palace 8-0.
In the form table, Leicester are 8th and Palace are 6th. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm getting a nosebleed having us form up there in 8th place. I'm torn on this one because we've just started to get some good results together. We've just got the players coming back. Palace, I think that they did us, did they not, earlier in the season? Oh no, it was 2-2.
We was 2-0 up.
With the courtesy of VAR, I think, wasn't it, or something? Oh no, we went 2-0 up, didn't we? And then they came back.
Yeah. In fact, it was one of them where it was against the run of play. We took the lead, and I think Ian actually doubled it. And then in the second half, we fell apart.
To be honest, but Palace are one of our bogey teams, aren't they?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to go back here. Sorry, mate. I'm just going to read this one out. Having Christopher funeral is like inviting death to the wake. Oh. Dan, I can mute you. So they are one of our bogey teams. Schlupp is on, he always gets a goal against us, doesn't he? Palace love them. And I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to have to agree with both of you two. I can see this being a draw. I want Leicester to win, obviously, but like you said, we've got that midweek game. Probably Leicester. We're playing PSV midweek. We'll probably get about 4 injuries.
Yeah, so I just feel like that even if, say, Fofana and Evans play and go through 90 minutes against PSV, with how we've been with our injuries that you've just alluded to there, I just feel that consciousness of not wanting to rush them back and still ease them in, even though they're playing more. You might see like an Amati or Soyuncu partnership, or a combination of something more than back to back. I can't really see Evans and Fofana both between them playing PSV and.
Certainly not Evans. Certainly not Evans. No. I hope Marty's given a chance, because he really does deserve it. Yeah,
he does deserve it.
Vardy back hopefully for the Palace game. I haven't heard that, Scott, but it's all good news if he is. Let's just hope we don't rush him back, though. I would love to see and this is what I said. Vardy, I think he's going to be his future role, as it was against Burnley. Come on for the last 20 minutes and score a goal. Talking of Burnley, and I can only introduce this next game as already I can see this being the last game on Match of the Day. Because it is Norwich versus Burnley. Now, Burnley have got Everton tomorrow night, a must-win game for them. And Burnley have got Norwich at the weekend, and a must-win game for them. I mean, Burnley and Dan, this next week, or this next 5 days will determine your season.
Very strong point there, yeah.
Yeah, if you do not get a minimum, and this is a minimum of 4 points, then get your atlas out and find out where, Nottingham is, and Coventry and Derby and all that, because you are going to need it. You've got to beat Everton, and really you've got to beat Norwich. You need a minimum of 4 points. I can't see anything less than that you need. What do you think, Brad? How do you see this going?
I mean, because we've got the joys of seeing who plays, of Everton playing before Manchester United, I think Sean Dyche will look at exactly that. He'll want 4 points. He will basically set the boundary of like you've just said, the minimum we get from these two games has to be 4 points. And I think if they can come out of the game against Everton with a draw, whilst on paper it might feel like, there's nothing ventured, nothing gained on Everton, it's not the most ideal result, you still keep them within that vicinity. And then if they go to Old Trafford and you're preparing to play Norwich, and you know that Everton have been beaten 1-0, 3-0, doesn't matter, as long as they lose that game. And that's the biggest if. Because as much as beating them will give you the confidence boost, if they then somehow go and beat Manchester United, it's like, F's sake, that was effing, If you can come out of that and you go, hold on a minute, now it looks better that we've got a draw against Everton, because now if we win, we're going to close that gap. And I think if the results pan out the way that we've predicted for the Man United Everton game, that will really fire Burnley up. And it has to, because if it doesn't, they're down. That is it. End of conversation. There was no second chances, no 17th chances. No. They're done. And for that reason, and because we don't want to get sued for victimising and bullying, I have gone for Burnley to win this game, because out of the two teams that are playing this game, if I had to pick, I'd rather Burnley have a chance of staying up than Norwich.
Yeah. And then Burnley, given the due, I know since they came up with us, they've been down and come back again. But like I said, they're not a Norwich. I want Norwich to go down. Yes, I do. But do I think they'll get anything from this game? I mean, Burnley are 16th in the form table. Norwich are 19th, but you're looking at 19th and 20th. This is last chance saloon for Burnley. We keep saying, like Terry said there, he thinks Burnley will turn them over. We keep saying, like, this is it, Burnley, their second half of the season, it happens. And, it isn't impossible. Look at Leicester City and their great escape year. We were probably thinking the same as you. Well, I was, Dan, thinking the same as you. And then, my God, suddenly we turned it on. But you've got to do it. Start doing it now, and you've got to start doing it against two teams that are that close to you. Like we said, Brentford earlier in the thing, they're beating the teams around them, and that's that. And I can't say how important it is, and equally for Norwich, and equally for Everton as well. I mean, I can see. Who did you go for this one? Sorry, Brad.
Burnley.
You went for Burnley, right? Dan obviously has gone for Burnley. He thinks they'll win both games. Dyche will want results and want them now. I mean, you sold Chris Wood, and you sold. He wasn't a 20. He was not a striker that was going to keep you in the Premier League, and you bought Weghorst for half the money. That isn't a striker that's going to keep you in the Premier League.
In fact, they sold Chris Wood and got a wish order version of him.
Yes, I mean, you had 30 million, you spent 15, and I know there's other players that you were after that fell through, that changed their minds, but you should have a list that one falls through, we've got this one. That one falls through, we've got this one, because that's how the transfer works. I unfortunately can see Burnley and Everton being a draw. This one, I'm going to say, if Burnley can't beat Norwich, then you might as well pack up your bags and go home. So I'm going to go for a tight Burnley win, to be honest with you. So, no, you haven't. No, you haven't, Terry. You just read on Twitter that anybody who has commented tonight gets 90% discount on merch. No, you don't. But if you want to become a gold member, you can become a bronze member, a silver member, or a gold member, and there's different benefits for each one. If you become a gold member, that sounds rather rude, doesn't it? Is your member gold? If you become a gold member, you get 5% off all the merchandise, but you have to be a gold member for a sort of minimum of 6 months. So there we go. That is 5% off for you. But no, I'm agreeing with you, Brad. I'm agreeing with Dan. I'm going for the Burnley win. And like I say, if it's not, it's bye-bye Burnley. I'll put you in touch with some championship bloggers, Dan. Right. Oh, well, we play at 2:00 on the Sunday. This game, I think, is a 4:30 kickoff. We've put our post-match show back because of this, have we not, Brad? It's the game, as it stands at the moment, the game of the season. Whether whoever wins this wins the league or not, I don't know. But it's probably going to be a boring 0-0 and be disappointing,
Yeah, which would say it all. But it's ironic that you say this is the biggest game of the season, because it very well will be the title decider. Because if you look at, I know Man City, you're probably going to tell me a fifth or sixth on the form book. But this is one of them games where you look at their last results and they mirrored each other. They literally mirrored each other about how they went about business. And I know I'm very well known for my bold statements, and this isn't quite as bold as North Macedonia standards. So don't set your alarm bells ringing too much. But I think this game is it, and I think whoever wins this will win the league. But I also think, we talked about eggs going into baskets and managing other competitions and all that. I think whoever loses this will come second in the league, obviously, but will go on to win the Champions League.
Wow. I'm just leaving a gap there so that I can clip that. Yeah. That is up there with your North Macedonia to win the Euros quote.
Yeah, although this does have more chance, especially if Liverpool lose it, because they do have a good Champions League record. So if Manchester City lose this game, I'm thick, because they always pop them. But yeah, whoever doesn't win this game, obviously if it's a draw, then buggers to my prediction. But
Yes.
Yeah, I think whoever wins this, the loser of this will do a 2-shell and focus on the competition and try and win it. And
Right. And who are you going for being that winner?
look, I might not be that bothered about Liverpool winning it now because they finally got over that it's a crap they used to do for 30 years. But still think it's Man City. I think Liverpool have more to lose than gain by losing this game or drawing this game. They have to win it because I just feel that the end running will just mirror each other. I think, and I know there's some advocate fans out there of the Scottish League, but I think if Man City do a Celtic to these and open up that gap a bit more, it's too late. And I think if it's a draw, Man City will just do enough for the remainder of the games to keep Liverpool at bay, and that'll be the title race over mentally, because I just don't see Man City dropping any more points other than this game. This is the only potential I see.
I'm
them
still none the wiser. Who are you going for?
Man City, mate. I did say Man City at the start. Yes, Man
City. Okay, no problem. I mean, it was a draw earlier in the season, 2-2. Like we say, Man City topped by a point. Now, funnily enough, in the form table, Liverpool are number 1 in the form table. Man City are actually down in 4th.
I knew earlier some comments about.
Yeah, I mean, let's have a look. I mean, sorry, Dan. Manchester City 2 over Burnley 2-0. They only drew with Palace. They stuffed Man United. They beat Everton 1-0, and they lost to Tottenham. Now, Liverpool 2-0 Watford, 2-0 Arsenal, 2-0 Brighton. Sorry, bad. 1-0 West Ham, 6-0 Leeds. That said, I mean, last weekend, Man City had the advantage of seeing Liverpool play first.
True, but I also remember that always seems to be the case with broadcasting telly, doesn't it? Because whoever seems to be the underdog or behind in the race seems to be able to play first, so they can put the pressure on the team in front. I remember it wasn't until later on, near the back end of our championship winning season, that we were forced to watch Spurs play beforehand to close the gap to 2 points and 5 points and then 7 points. And then when it got to that 5 to 7 point gap, we were on first to extend it to 7 and 10 points. So no surprises to see they're trying to play the psychological game with both teams swapping, chopping and changing who plays first each week.
Yes, yeah. I was torn as to who I wanted to actually win the league, because I didn't want Liverpool, because they've got 1 and we've got 1, and I didn't want them to go above us. But they will at some point, I think, over the next 2 or 3 years, get that one, whether it's this year or not. Do you know what? I can actually see this being a draw and it being a frustrating game. We're expecting a brilliant, it's like when we get an FA Cup final and it's between, Manchester United and Chelsea or something, and it turns out to be such a drab game. And I can see this being a disappointment. I am going to go, and this is really going to split us up this week with the points, Brad, but I am going to go for a draw. I think it will be a draw.
I tell you what, anyone out there that knows a fencing company and they want to sponsor Leicester Till I Die, it's a right channel, because Chris sits on the fence that much. It tests the sturdy strength of any fence company. If you want to give a challenge to Chris, the way he sits on fences on this channel when it comes to predictions, just saying, get it out there. Just let me know any infamous local fence companies, because he's good at sitting on them, aren't you, Chris?
Well, let's just have a look, mate. Look, I'm ahead of you.
You fence it. You stole my tactic. I trained you too well, didn't I?
No, you've just accused, my tactics, whatever they are working. But it could all turn around this week. And let me just say, Brad, Arsenal-Brighton, draw. Leicester-Crystal Palace, draw. You're pretty much on the same fence as me.
It's the only 2 draws I've got because I've started writing them down with me. I'm getting I'm like a child with a new toy, Chris. I got this notepad today and I've already used 3 pages. Look, and I'm using psychological reasons.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I've gone for 1, 2, 3, 5. Gone for 4 draws. In fairness,
and to be fair, last week. Two of the draws I went for were Brighton result and Leicester results, and they got me points. And so if they were
there we
I'm
go.
happy for them.
Terry says, "How do you become a BS Gold member?" Serious question. On the Leicester Till I Die homepage, Leicester Till I Die TV YouTube homepage, and just type in Leicester Till I Die TV, and it will bring it up. On the homepage at the top, there is a thing that it should light up blue, actually. You click on that and you pay whatever you want to pay each month, Terry. Obviously, bronze, silver, and gold are bronze is the cheapest, then silver, then gold. And it will tell you the different benefits that each one has. But the gold one does have the 5% discount on the merchandise. So that's what you need to do. Just click on that link and follow the instructions, and then please do then message me and tell me what you're entitled to, because I need to go and check myself. It was a while ago I did it, but it does give you the chance to come on the shows and do all that if you want to as well. And does that as well, Scott? I thought that was just for making a donation. I didn't think you could become a member on that. Bottom right certainly gives you can make a donation one-off for the show.
I think you can do a thing where it's called Super Chat. So you donate anywhere between 99p as it is or £1 to whatever any amount you want, really, and then I think it automatically posts the message up for you.
Yeah, certainly on the home page. Where you got my logo under the main header at the top, there's a little white box with blue writing that says join, and it will on that you would be able to say join on the dollar sign at the bottom. Let's just have a look. Oh no, you can do membership as well. Super sticker, super chat on membership. I didn't realize that, so you can do it that way as well. Terry,
Scott's the man in the know.
Don't and Dan as well. In fairness, you don't feel you have to, but obviously everything is available. Everything is gratefully received, as they say. So let's just go through that then, Brad. Newcastle Wolves. You've gone for Wolves. Myself and Steve, and when I say Steve, I mean Dan, of course. Has gone for the draw, as you just so politely reminded me. We've all gone for Man United win over Everton, and I think that's more because of how bad Everton are rather than how good Man United are.
Oh, it's definitely that reason, mate.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of polite. Arsenal Brighton. I've gone for an Arsenal win. Brad's gone for his fence-sitting draw, and obviously Steve's had to go for Brighton. Of course, he has.
No, I'm saying this, but I hope for my sake and Steve's is right on that one.
Yeah, Southampton and Chelsea. Well, he would, whatever happens, he would never go for Arsenal. Let's be honest. Southampton, Chelsea. You've gone Southampton. The draw for Steve, Chelsea for me, and then the third one on a trot where we've split straight down. Watford was Steve's choice. I've gone for the draw. Yeah, all right. Maybe I've gone for a few draws. Brad has gone for a Leeds win. Hey, I come from the Pools age where you getting the draws was what you wanted. Cheers, Scott. Scott's got to go off. Thanks very much for popping in, mate. All the best. Take care. Speak soon. Villa Spurs. Well, we know Steve would have gone for Aston Villa. You and me have gone for Spurs, although not necessarily through choice. Brentford, West Ham. Nobody can see a West Ham win. Wow. We've all three gone for Brentford, and we've all three, including you, young Bradley, have gone for the draw.
Who's Bradley?
He's the naughty version of you. He's the naughty version of you.
I remember that every time I'm in trouble.
Yeah. It's like I was always to my ex-wife and my an ex-wife and my my mother. I was always Christopher when I was naughty, never Chris.
Oh, see. Not to copy Will Smith, but if you ever feel a smack in the mouth, it's because my mum's heard you say, "Call me Bradley," and she won't like it.
All right, okay.
Not exactly
I apologise, Mrs. Perkis. Forgive me.
Oh, you'll slap me for that. Her last name's different to mine.
Oh God, I can't win, can I?
You can't win, mate. You can't
win.
You can't win with my family, mate.
Just come and slack me, Brad's mum. You know.
No.
I'll tie myself to the bed. You know, it's anyway. We've all gone for the draw. Leicester Palace. We've all gone for the Burnley win.
Out of desperation, and so we don't get taken to court for bullying.
Yes, and just in case of that, hello, Mrs. Riley. How are you? And Man City. I've actually got a video of Mrs. Riley saying hello to me.
Oh.
I don't know how to download it though. That's the problem. Man City, Liverpool. Again, we've split straight across that. You've gone for Man City. Steve went for Liverpool, and of course, I surprise, have gone for a draw. Would you believe? Luke has gone 2-1 to Brighton. Yeah. I kind of agree with you, Luca, but it's not through choice. But we all know that if Brighton actually beat Arsenal, that you and Stephen will have a half-hour rant on each other's platform. Why you have guests in when you do these shows, I don't know, because they become superfluous to the needs of the channel. Just might as well have you and Stephen on. And Dan says, rumour has it that the blue-tinted specs guy is Banksy and has admitted to using 3 pages in a notepad. I could not possibly comment. Without being sued. Hey, this is coming up tomorrow. It is, and you'll be back again, Brad.
Yes, yeah, I will. I've you know what? Funny enough, mate, since I brought this, what's in my diary? What's it written in? 7 p.m.
Now, Dan, you see, this is what Brad's bought a book and he's using it. You need to start using yours. We are playing PSV in the first leg. I'm a bit worried. I'm not going to lie. They're second and unbeaten in 5 in their league. But we'll also be speaking to Michael, who is a PSV fan, and he does a special broadcast and blog on, and video log as well, on the Dutch league. So it'd be interesting to see what he's got to say and what his thoughts are on the upcoming game. But he says, at least I don't use mine. I'm not sure what you mean there, Luca, but he did say, we'll set up the super chat tomorrow. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Terry. Much appreciated. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. So that's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. And after that, might be nipping over to give Dan some moral support in his game against Everton. Oh, you don't use your diary, Luca. Was that why when we were doing the show earlier in the year and I was coming on your channel and you sent me a reminder saying and when I sent you a reminder saying, I'm sat here, where are you? And you said you've never sent a link. And I said, but it's on your channel and you'd forgotten. Maybe you need to use your diary, Luca. Maybe you do. I jest. Hey, as always, Brad, it's a pleasure. You are starting your own podcast. Details are in the link below, and certainly your Twitter link is. How can people have a listen? And when is the first show coming up?
So I'm recording the first episode on Friday evening with the 3 guests that I'll have on. It's Chloe, Reese, and Doug. The topic of it is Marvel versus DC and which one they think is better. So we're recording that, and depending on what time I get done editing it, I will either put it up Friday night or it will go up first thing Saturday. So yeah, that's getting done Friday. I'm looking forward to it. And it'll be the kick-off one. So yeah, just check my link out in the bio on it, and please just, even if it's a thumbs up or a share or you're hitting subscribe, it'd be great just to have your support. And yeah, thanks for letting us shout that out, mate.
No, you're more than welcome. Go and give it a support. And if you're like me, a true superhero fan, you know what the answer is already. It's Marvel. The shows for, you know what they're doing your show now, Brad.
Wow, that's the joy. That's the joys and the captions to the title, mate. It doesn't matter if all three of the guests share the same opinion.
Oh no! I jest. You know, I jest.
Yeah.
Talking of Friday, actually, this Friday at 7:00, we would normally be having the Palace review. But we've actually got a special with John Morgan, the old Leicester City ladies manager or Leicester City women's manager, who's coming on following bad timing, I know, but following a 9-0 and a 5-0 defeat for the ladies. We get on the man that was sacked because they weren't winning games. But he's a nice guy. He's a totally nice guy. If you've got any questions, get them in on the show. We will be asking him your questions as well. So that will be very interesting because, it's interesting to see, how it's run. I mean, they play at the King Power now as well. It's all moving forward. It looks like we're going to stay up this season, basically because Birmingham are worse than us. But John Morgan, the 8th of April, Friday at 7:00. Look out for it. Brad, all the best, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having us on. I do enjoy these shows as always, mate.
And I'll say thanks to Steve. I'm sure.
Steve, give it a break, mate. Let someone else talk. Stop talking, Steve. God.
I know you can't shut him up, can you?
No.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Luca. It means a lot. Cheers, mate. You know I only joke. I did say that 4th place was yours to throw away. I didn't think you'd take me literally. I've got to be honest with you. Dan, thank you so much for standing in for Steve. Not sure what you stood in. Depends whether you're in the corner or not. Press charges. That was Brad. That was nothing to do with me. That was Brad that you pressed charges against. I still want to know how you made the noise when you got it out that woke Kate up. But that's another show for another time, which will probably be past midnight. Brad, stay safe, mate. All the best to Chloe, and I'll see you tomorrow again at 7:00. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks to Brad there, my partner in crime. Great help. Do give his podcast a listen. It's not, and it might be, there may well be some football content in there, but I mean, it's going to be great. Marvel, we've all got our favourites, haven't we? Marvel or DC, and I'm sure it will be a great discussion. Thanks to Dan, as I say, for popping on and for standing in for Steve. Steve still hasn't read his message, so I'm guessing he's stuck somewhere where he can't get. He's probably with his job. He does get it. Have to go out at the last minute. Thanks to everybody else that popped in. Thanks to Terry in advance for doing the membership. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate that you don't. You never have to. I'm not working, so I struggle with that sort of thing. So anything like that, I appreciate the fact that you're considering doing it. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you to everybody else in the chat as well. Thank you for watching Leicester Till I Die TV. Please don't forget to give us a subscribe if you haven't on YouTube, and obviously also give us a like on the video as well. And if you have been listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, whichever that is, because we're all over the place. I keep finding new platforms that I'm on that some of them I've never even heard of, but we're on the main ones. Thank you for listening, and I will see you tomorrow night at 7:00. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
That's all, folks.